Hey, if you're watching this, welcome to the challenge where you'll be creating your EPK. If you are not familiar with what an EPK is, an EPK is your electronic press kit. This is a resume for yourself so that it can open doors, opportunities, collaborations, and just be able to share who you are to the right people and take you to the next level within your career. So, throughout this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what it should look like, why it should look this way, how you're going to build it out. And then I will break it down into 4 weeks of you creating your EPK. Today, I'm going to be sharing the one that I have, which is a little bit longer than the usuals. Some of you may be able to create a one-page EPK, and others who have more experience, have done more in their career, have done many collaborations, international things. You'll be able to add those, which make your EPK a bit longer, right? So you want to be able to share what your story is, what you do, who you've worked with, and why you matter, and maybe why you should be booked by this brand, why you should be published by this brand, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna begin here. This is a EPK that I use to work with brands. So this EPK is more set up like a presentation. It's a bit longer. I shortened it here for you guys to kind of condense a bit of this EPK. Just an insider, I have a few different ones that I'll use depending on who I'm meeting with or who I am presenting it to. Usually, when I'm in a meeting or I'm going to have a meeting, I will make it a bit longer so that it can go over everything that I do. Right? If it's something that I'm sending over to someone, I'll try to make it impactful, short, and straight to the point. So today I'm going to give you one that's a little bit more in depth. And this is what yours could look like as you continue to grow within the industry and everything that you begin to do. In the branding and the theme of this is a very clean, minimal aesthetic with my logo, which is what is the only highlight besides the pictures that I utilize within this EPK. So let's begin. So that is my cover photo. It's straight to who I am, right? And it shares my bio as soon as you click over to the next one. And as you can see, if we were looking at this to dissect it, you can see that we have some really good pictures, right? I'm using photos that are nice, and that also kind of like interact with the font over to the left, right? And I want you to look at everything that I'm presenting to you in a different perspective, not just reading what you're seeing here, but also seeing the type of font, how I play with bold and non bold lettering. So, and then, of course, the bio and the information that I have here, which is going to be a key factor when you build out your EPK, because I don't want you to utilize AI or ChatGPT to just help you create everything. I want you to actually think. I want you to actually put some thought behind everything that you're creating. And then towards the end, you can maybe just refine everything with some help from AI. But I want you to really think about everything before you just dump it into AI and it doesn't sound like you, it doesn't really reflect who you are, right? So the first page that I have is a bio of who I am. You can see the authority right away with 18 years plus within the industry. Also, the authority within the founder of Sharp Fade, Rise of Hair, Hubnox, co-owner of America's Live Fashion Hair. The amount of countries, right? So this is all authority, impact, so that we can impact the end user or the client that we want, right? Or the collaboration that we want. At the end, I even finalized with creative consultant for Wall, partnered with Booksy over 8 years, and and these are all just different ways that you can close that deal, right? For you, it could be how many clients you have, how many reviews you have, how long you've been in the industry. If you do travel and you are educating already, that is things that you can put up there. If you've worked on commercials, if you've worked on shows, if whatever you've worked on, you can kind of mix it into this bio, right? You want to create that perfect bio that shares in a few sentences who you are. As we move on to the next one here, reminding you that when I am using this presentation or EPK, that's more of a presentation, I speak during this session, this portion, right? So now, if we're creating a one pager, this would be just a bottom row with just the logos, right? Let's say if we're creating a one pager, just literally just all of these logos would be lined up in the bottom. Here I just, it's another way of showing authority, showing the collaborations that you've had across the world or across the industry or within the industry or outside of the industry. And if we look at it from a different perspective as well, you can see that there's every single logo here is a PNG file, right? There's no background, there's no squares, it doesn't look ugly, right? So I had to take the time to go out and find the actual files that look nice and don't make this slide look ugly. Mind you, the whole branding of this EPK is very simple. I just have my logo in the background, low opacity, and I have like an off-white color on it. Now, the next things that I share are a few different things. One is education. The second one is creative direction, and the third is hosting. This can all be mixed into one, right? If my bio shares that I educate and that I do creative direction and that I host, then I would just put this into one, right? And I would probably just grab one or two photos from my work and maybe a photo of me on stage and then one main photo, right? What I want you to work around here is to try to get a 3-page EPK, a 3-page with one being a cover, the middle one having the information, and the last one kind of like a call to action, where you can share your analytics, your social media analytics, and just your social media and your info so that people can get a hold of you and contact you. Right. So here I just share a little bit of the presentations and the courses that I do around the world at the moment, from Max to Zeta to Max Side, and obviously there's more, but these are the ones that I was sharing during the presentation of this EPK. As you see, there's still a subtle, clean look within this EPK, but I still use high-end photography. Like you see this model over here next to the word creative. We took the background off. We added a shadow. We added a photo of him in the bottom, and it gives still like a clean aesthetic to what the EPK will look like. As we move forward, I also share a little bit about some of the events that I've done. I share photos from the past, photos from now. I share a little bit about the events that I do in the US and how I host them and how I'm partnered with them, how I host the second biggest event of the US, and how I host the second largest globally. And these are all just different achievements that I've had in my career. But if I was creating this EPK in a 3-pager, I would condense all of this, right? I wouldn't use this many photos. I wouldn't use um, these many, well, the logos I would use, but I would definitely not use that many photos, and I wouldn't use that many fonts or lettering or just paragraphs, right? So let's move forward here. And lastly, publications. I think this is a very, very important one, right? It shares how I've been published in different magazines across the world. And it's a way of literally being able to just share all the different types of things that I can offer for this brand, right? We got to keep that in mind. This is not to brag, this is to be able to collaborate, to be able to share what we do, share what you do with that person, that brand, that show that wants to hire you, or even the publication that wants to feature you. So this is straight to the point on what it is you do, how you do it, and your history. So let's get to it. We are gonna hopefully you made it this far. If you're there and you're watching, well, I'm excited that you're watching. So week one, right? We're gonna break it down into 4 weeks, where you're gonna complete the EPK challenge. Week one is foundation and organization, right? The goal here is to gather all the assets and define your identity and prepare for a pro production. Now, what does that mean? I guess the first thing is, when you go into your laptop and you go into your phone, the photos are usually not organized. Everything can be misplaced. So the idea here is that you create a folder on your laptop. You name this folder EPK. When you click on that folder, it brings you to a bunch of other folders. You'll have photos of you. You'll have headshots of yourself, and you'll have lifestyle photos of yourself, and then you'll have in action. So like maybe you cutting hair, if you cut hair on stage before, or if you're cutting hair at the barber shop. um, Also any notable pictures that you can use, like how many, for example, if you have a lot of reviews, if you've got ton of 5-star reviews on Google, on Booksy, or anywhere, or awards, if you won any barber competitions, awards, any of those things, you want to just organize that into this file. The next thing is, now that you already have all of that organized, it's time for you to hire a professional. In the past, we usually share with everybody to really just get somebody that knows how to take photos, right? So whether it's a friend of yours that's a professional photographer, or a photographer you have to find online, it's very important for you to always update your headshots. So the idea here is that you hire this professional, you get clean headshots, and you have a whole day for yourself to get new photography and get updated. I'm not sure if you've ever been a part of an event, and then they ask you for a photo of yourself, and then you don't have that photo, or you don't even know what photo to send. You have photos of you and your family at Disney, or you have photos of you at a bowling alley, and you expect the designer to just crop you out. So this is how we're preparing you, so that you do not be that person. You want to always be prepared. When a company reaches out and asks you for headshots, you have a drive with headshots. You have lifestyle shots, right? And these are things that no one really shares at all in the industry. You'd be surprised how many of the greatest don't have this set up. But when I get asked for photos, I have a ton of photos. They're all organized. They're all even named. Like, you can use this for promo. You can use this as a main photo for the main flyers. So although right now you're creating an EPK, these photos will end up working for you in the future for different reasons, right? So you already hired that pro. You already scheduled that professional. You're watching this and you're like, all right, I need to find a photographer. You're gonna go in there with different clothes as well. You're gonna have a whole shoot for yourself. So now you're gonna go there with different clothes, right? And you want to be able to just have different poses, to have different scenery, to have different um, just different options that we can give, whether it's for the EPK, or like I just mentioned before, if it's for the future, right? Because you just don't know what these photos could be used for in the future, right? So after that, you're going to gather all the logos. Now, this one takes time because a lot of people get lazy here. They just grab logos with like square logos that have black backgrounds or white backgrounds, and it just looks ugly. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't look clean, and it doesn't look professional. So you want to gather all the logos that from the brands that you've worked with. You want to gather your own logo. If you have one, you want to gather that. You want to have it ready in black or white, right? And you want to be able to have everything in a PNG file, as you can read here. So now you've already done a few different steps. You're preparing yourself for that shoot. You've started to clean out these folders for yourself. And then the next step is to start to draft a bio. Now, here's like I spoke earlier, the bio is key that you just work on it yourself from the brain, from your own from your own thoughts, and then afterwards you can utilize something like chat or Gemini to just perfect it for you, right? And and that's gonna make it much more humanized than just going straight to chat and taking a shortcut. It just doesn't sound real, right? You want it to sound real, and even after you get it back from chat, you're still gonna adjust it, right? So um, we want to make sure that in this you share who you are, what you do, what is your specialty, what is it that it makes you different. Why should they hire you? Why should they feature you? Why are you the one that they should go for? What's the impact you've done? How many followers you have? How many people have you reached over the years on social media? These are all things that, although I didn't show it here on this EPK, these are things that you should implement into it, right? And I do implement in different EPKs that I use, but here is where you'll be able to share how many people you reach, whether we do it through the bio or we do it through design. That is an option for us to work on, right? And as you work on this over the weeks, myself, the leaders will be looking over to see how you're doing. So here, after you have this bio kind of drafted up, make sure you grab a moment to kind of just list some of your achievements. Like I shared earlier, it could be how many people have booked with you. It could be how many awards you've won. It could be you were a part of a commercial. Like it could be literally anything. And we need to put it in here. They need to know why we got to go with you. Maybe you're an owner of a barbershop for this long, or maybe you're an owner of a studio, or maybe you're the owner of this. I guess most importantly, of course, you got to put Sharp Fade. So you're part of the Sharp Fade partners. Like just ask us for the logo, and we'll make sure that you get it right. So those are all big accomplishments. Let's head over to week two. Week two. So after week one, we move on to week two, and on week two, we're going to work on brand identity, right? So this is important because here's where it could get messy if you don't have an eye for design, and it's totally fine. This is going to help you work on building an eye for design and getting it to the starting point that we need to get it to. So I want you to choose two different fonts, right? So obviously, where we're going to work on this whole thing is on Canva. You're going to go on Canva. You're going to open up your Canva, and you're going to pick two fonts. The good thing about Canva is there's a lot of templates. There's a whole lot of templates. So I would recommend that you start with a template. You use a font that's bold and strong for your headline, and then you use one that's for your body, right? And the body is obviously like what you read here on the bottom, right? And I just placed there a few for example, um, but you can just choose the one that you think represents you as a brand, represents you as a person, and but just try to stick to two. Yeah. After that, we're gonna create a color palette, right? So to create the palette, you're gonna still stay on Canva, and you're going to pick a few different colors here that you're going to work with throughout the whole EPK that's being built. One of the tricks that I do is I go on Pinterest, and I search up color palette, and I look for color palettes that kind of stand out to me. I utilize this strategy just so that I can build out courses that represent different like feelings and emotions, right? So I'll just go to Pinterest, and I will get a color palette from there. So I recommend that you go to Pinterest, get yourself a nice little color palette. screenshot it or save it, drag it onto Canva. Once you drag it onto Canva on one of the pages, you'll be able to utilize the I don't know what you call it, but basically the chooser of color, and you'll be able to choose that color and basically utilize it in your presentation throughout the whole presentation, right? Or your EPK, sorry. So you want to be able to grab a few, right? One dominant color, like one principal, like main color, and then you have two secondary. It has to share your personality, your style, and your energy. So, like I said, when it comes to me with this EPK that I have here, I wanted to keep it simple, clean, minimal, and straight to the point. But there is others that I use that are just a bit different. I actually sometimes even utilize EPKs that are representing the brand that I'm going to be talking to. So like if the brand is more traditional, I'll try to go in with the EPK that's more traditional. If the brand is more modern, I'll go in with an EPK that's more modern, right? Just so that I can kind of speak their language in a way, right? And that's kind of like a secret tip, right? But right now we're just gonna get on the first EPK, right? So after you've created this palette and you've got your colors, yeah, it's starting to look and feel like what you want it to. You're now going to start to get your logos situated, right? So you want to get your logo. As you see, mine is like in the background as a background on all of these slides, but usually you'll have it like on the top left corner or the bottom right corner. Um, and you can even just have it on one page, or you can have it on all the pages. To be honest, for me, I usually just put it on all the pages, just so that it's like a reminder of who they are looking at and who they are looking to hire. And it's like, oh damn, Byrd Mena, right? As an example. All right, so and when you are working on this logo of yours, make sure you have it in a light or in a dark version as well, right? So this one that you're seeing here on this week two, it in the background, it's a black one that's on low opacity, right? So that's week two. We're gonna move on to week three. By this time, you should be already preparing yourself for your photo shoot. Depending on when you book this, some of you probably already did it on week two, depending on how fast you move and um, how up to speed you are on everything, right? So, but you're watching this video beforehand, so now you already know that by this time you should have like wardrobe that kind of match your style, your aesthetic. If you're like more of a traditional barber, and your whole EPK should be traditional, right? Like it should match who you are. For me, I like colors, right? So depending on which EPK I'm working on, most of the time they're very colorful, right? So your locations, your background, and your moods. Also, some props. So, although I didn't use props in this EPK, you can see that on one of them, I'm like pointing to the text. So even things like that actually make your EPK a little bit more engaging, right? All right, we're moving on to week three. Now you're going to build out everything that we've been working on, right? So you already have your bio kind of drafted. You've got some colors that you've chosen. And then you've already organized all your logos, all your accomplishments, all of your photos of yourself. And I think by now you should hopefully have all your photos from the photographer. I hope, right? And it's time to build it all out. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna just structure everything, right? Your name. We're gonna have that hero picture, right? The hero picture on mine. You can go back to the first picture. It's just me with my name behind it, right? You're gonna have that bio. You're gonna have those achievements in there, and then you're gonna start to put those logos in there. Now, I want you guys to work on a 3 pager, right? I did share earlier that there could be a 1 pager. Like my good friend George Sierra has a 1 pager, and then you can have a one that has 10 pages, right? Which is more of a now it's like more of a longer presentation. But we're gonna start with three. We're gonna have that cover on that first one, And then the middle one should have your full on bio, right? Your achievements, the brands you worked with. And then the last one, we're going to call it more like a call to action, right? And we're going to fit all the information that is important into these 3 pages, right? So after we've placed the services that you've done, the education, the speaking, your creative work, your gallery, all into this page, then we're going to move into that finalized bio, right? We're going to add all the photos that we need to add. I don't mind if you're adding photos of before, um, but let's stick to the photos that are now, right? If you have, it all depends on your story, right? Like if it goes within the story of who you are, then maybe that photo of you from the past can be valid to put in there. But let's focus on the now. Let's focus on those photos that you just took, right? And since they are with a certain wardrobe that matches the aesthetic of your EPK, it's all going to come together really, really nicely, right? So at this point, now you've already placed on this week 3, you've already placed photos of yourself. You're utilizing these photos, and I want you to also take a moment to remove the background of some of these photos, right? Like you seen on that slide where we speak about creativity, right? Let me see if I can go back to share it with you. Or here, right? Like this is 4 photos of me in different stages, but then on the left side is a photo of me with no background, or here with the model, right? So I want you to practice that as well as we're on week 3. And these are just simple ways to kind of give a more unique look and unique taste to your EPK. Mind you, I always recommend at the end, all the way at the end, it's important that we can kind of learn how to build the EPK. We can kind of learn how to become a graphic designer. But at the end of the day, you won't be a graphic designer unless you went to school for it or if you learned it over the years, right? And I share that to share that to share that to share that I'm not gonna get a tattoo from someone that's not a tattoo artist, right? So although we're building this on Canva and we're creating something really nice with the minimum amount of design that we know how to use, at the end, it's important that we invest in ourselves to have a professional do it, right? So for me, I've got a lot of presentations that I've done over the years. I've got a lot of EPKs, and then I've got some that are done by my graphic designers that I utilize for the big screens or for big presentations and so on. So this is just the starting point, and it's important that you can kind of build this eye for yourself, right? So this week 3 is all about building that eye for yourself. This is about like how does the text look, how is the text reading, how is the big text clashing with the small text, does it look messy, are you utilizing the space correctly on your slides, right? So this is where you will kind of like look at it and be like, oh, this looks too cluttered, right? Or this looks horrible, right? So um, this is all about just being realistic with yourself and kind of just adjusting. If there's too many photos, if there's too much text, if there's just not enough space, maybe there's an extra space that you need to find. How can you find that? You're going to delete certain things and just adjust. That's what week 3 will be about. Uh, and just read here all the things that you should have ready. And then we're going to move on to week 4. All right, on week 4, we're going to finalize, we're going to polish. The team will look it over. Mind you, it's very, very important. Maybe in the future, you'll have to present this in person. You just never know. But at this point, you already have, you've already fixed the spacing. You are checking for grammar just in case. You've already added bold text. So, like here on week 4, you can see that it says week 4, finalize and launch. It's bold. And you're just kind of playing with the design. and our team is out to look and see how it's looking. We're gonna give you guys feedback. We're gonna give you a review, and we'll make sure that you make the right adjustments so that you have an amazing EPK to kick off um, your year, or to kick, or even to just revamp your EPK, right? So uh, after that, we should be done. And hopefully, you've made it this far, which I know you will. After that, we're going to take a moment to now keep all of that organized, those files organized. Keep that file like on your desktop, because as you go through the year and as you continue to grow, you will dig back into that folder and adjust things, right? Because like I mentioned in the beginning of this whole video, I always go back. I always go back and evolve and change and bring something new. This is like, look at it as like a cheat code in the background, and that a lot of people are not using. So many people are focused on social media and their numbers and their followers, but they don't even knock on doors correctly, right? Like, this is a way for you to knock on doors. This is a way for you to email brands. This is a way for you to get collaborations, right? So after that, we're going to download this PDF. You're going to create another file. In this file, you're going to call it um, your first EPK, EPK1, and you'll have it ready there for whenever we need you to use it. After that, you can either publish it on your website, kind of like my good friend George Sierra. When you go to his website, you can download his EPK and learn a little bit about him. You can add it in different places, or you can just send it out to brands, or send it out into emails. For me personally, I like to keep mine hidden. I like to be able to have that one on one with the person or with the brand, and then give them the time to either present it to them, or if I do have to send it, I'll send a short one over through email. And that's that. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this EPK challenge that you're going to be a part of. And I can't wait to see what your EPKs look like. Mind you, get creative, right? Get creative, have fun, and just look for things that don't look right. If it don't look right, then that means it doesn't belong there. Take it out and then adjust. The more that you have it all organized, the easier it will be for you, and it will help you for your future as you keep everything organized on your desktop. Um, Even like grabbing photos from your phone, airdropping it over to your laptop, and just putting it into the folders. Even if you don't use it right now, in the future you could use it, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing all your EPKs. I can't wait to see how you guys build them out. And someday we're going to send them out to brands, and then we'll look back and be like, wow, that was cool. Anyways, if you've watched this already, head over to wherever we speak and let me know that you just watched this video. See you soon, and enjoy the challenge.